And that's what we're seeing play out right now. And I'm going to show you why I say that here in a second. Because if I go in and look at the people who had Andrew's back, right? All these guys who are like, oh, yeah, we're pro Andrew Tate. We really love him and everything. You will see that the narrative shift is about to go to free speech. Now, they got behind him. They didn't really know his background. They didn't care because he was the new hotness and they wanted to hitch their carts to whatever Andrew Tate was doing at that time because you couldn't avoid him. He was unignorable on all platforms. That's why he's getting on with like Dave Portnoy. That's why he's getting on with I'm surprised he hasn't done Rogan. He might still do Rogan. He was on Tucker friggin' Carlson. Okay. So you can't get away from it. Half the chicks that were in that video that I just showed you, they knew who he was without having to be shown the video. They knew that name. You're bald. You're this. They had something nasty to say about him, whatever. They, again, confident ignorance, but they damn well knew who he was. Again, here we go. This is the cycle. So my first question was this, and I once I realized that he was getting canceled, and I knew it was just a matter of time, because when you have literally, he was the first person, and kudos to Andrew for this. He's literally the first person who has effectively, successfully gamed the YouTube algorithm. He figured it out. You get enough people to promote your stuff, and you work out some sort of like affiliate marketing scheme of some sorts, and you get your people to do it so that whenever you go on TikTok, whenever you go on Twitter, whenever you go on Facebook, well, maybe not Facebook, whenever you go on YouTube, whenever you go on Twitch, no matter what, you cannot avoid seeing Andrew Tate. That's what I was seeing back last year in my chat streams, not knowing that was the top G, not knowing that was the plan. So he's unignorable. He's still unignorable today. Now, is he going to come back from this? We'll talk about that later on in this stream. But I want to talk about how he got up to where he is right now, because he effectively found a way to do an end run. He understood the algorithm well enough to figure out, I can apply this format to game the algorithm. And that's why I said, as far back, I think it was like, it was when I was doing the Sean Reynolds episode not too long ago. I said exactly this. I said, he successfully gamed the algorithm. I knew exactly what he was doing. Bravo, man. Good work. But it only lasts for a little while. If you think that YouTube, the higher ups at YouTube, keep seeing, if Dave Portnoy is seeing him show up, if like Tucker Carlson, if these guys who are like big names are seeing him show up in their stream, in their impressions, damn well that YouTube already has figured that out. They've seen this too. And they're like, how did he do this? Well, now they understand the game. And so what do? They collectively, simultaneously, synchronously delete him all at the same time. Where have we seen that before? Here's my third example, not Roosh, but here's my third example. Where have we seen that before? Where a guy loses his payment processor, and by the way, so did Roosh, but loses his payment processor, loses his channel, loses his Twitter, loses his Twitch, loses his IG, loses his entire presence online all at once, all within a week's space. Who can we think of? Thank you very much, man. You win the prize. Go to the head of the class today, my friend.
Kowalski analysis.
That's right, Alex Jones. Same thing. Again, this is not an endorsement. This is not I'm not flaming him or anything like that. Whatever your opinion of Alex Jones is, I don't really care, but they did the same thing to him. You knew this was coming. You had to have known this was coming. And if you end up becoming the next Andrew Tate, if you become, like I would say, had Kevin Samuels lived a little bit longer, he probably would have been erased as well in a similar fashion. He wasn't quite to the point where he could get enough people to sort of do shorts and reels and TikTok. He wasn't right. He wasn't quite there, but God damn it, if Andrew Tate wasn't on top of that game and all of those shorts, it's very easy to create a short. It's like a 59-second video. It doesn't even have to be that. Just whatever is going to agitate. Put your face there and up yourself in the algorithm, whether it's YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, whatever. If people are rebroadcasting your URL, they're rebroadcasting your message and rebroadcasting that link to that video, whatever you created for them. If that keeps coming up over and over and over and over again, you're going to go up in the algorithm. You're going to be the first person you see in the Google search. It wasn't hard to find a picture of Andrew for the thumbnail today. And by the way, that thumbnail is from the 1982 Conan the Barbarian with Arnold Schwarzenegger in it. No, I did not lift that from the Passion of the Christ. I'm not that blasphemous. But that's where he's at. He's been crucified. He's been erased. That's how we crucify people right now, because they dared to speak out against the gynocentric social order. They dared to, because think about this. Now, I wanted to point this out before we move on to his final speech. And I've got some other things. Like I said, this is going to be a data heavy show today, or it's going to be a video heavy show today. But think about this. When we're talking about intersexual dynamics on this show, I run the risk every time I go on of people going, well, he's a misogynist. Oh, it's hate speech, right? When you look at like guys who are from within this community who hate me, like the Black Pill Spurgs or Spurg Tau or whatever, you got guys like Anthony Johnson or John Anthony or rest of these guys who have been 100% confirmed to be behind these copyright, well, not copyright strikes, these nudity strikes and hate speech strikes against Myron and Fresh. We know this. We've got it. Trust me. I've seen it with my own eyes. We know it's, and so when you got these guys who are from within the actual community itself, who are using the same tactics that the woke mob are, you've got a double whammy, man. Not only do I have to fight feminists and the gynocentric social order and the same people that Andrew has to do, fight the people on the outside. You also got to fight the people on the inside as well. It's like a circular firing squad, right? But it's like, I've never been doxxed by a woke mob. I have been doxxed by people inside the quote unquote manosphere. That's the other part that nobody wants to talk about right now. Nobody wants to say that. They will gladly use the techniques. They will gladly use the weapons of the woke that they complain about in every goddamn video. If somebody that they like gets ratioed as a result of a woke mob coming after them, they're like, oh, this is terrible. But they're more than happy to use those weapons against people that they don't like from within the same community. So go take that up with people like Anthony Johnson. Go take that up with like John Anthony. Go take that up with the people who hate. Anybody who's been begging for a debate on me. Go talk to those guys first. So it comes from within. The biggest danger to the manosphere is not the outside; it's the inside, man. But here we have Andrew Tate. Now, was Andrew Tate red pill? Was Andrew Tate part of the manosphere? I would argue yes, because I have a firsthand personal relationship with Andrew Tate. I've known him since 2017. I know what we've talked about. I know what we've discussed. I know what his cam girls are about. I know what his casinos are about. I'm very aware of the Forex thing. He was the Forex scam he was doing. I'm very aware of the video that you're probably going to throw. Well, actually, the girls in the New York City we're talking about. I got it. Trust me, I know it. But I'm also listening to the message. I'm also saying where he's the one that's up there. He's the one that's the representative for at least somewhat red pill. So is Kevin Samuels. So is Myron. So am I. There's a lot of different people who could be good representatives. Carry the banner, carry the torch. Thank you for that. What is this? You get one of these. Rolla finally ordered all 5 of your books yesterday, and I'm sacrificing sleep to watch this. Thank you for watching, and thank you for sacrificing sleep. Live before I go to work tonight. Much respect for you and the Top G. To quote Babe Ruth from The Sandlot. From Sandlot, heroes are remembered, legends never die. Legends never die. Thank you very much. We'll get to you. Did I miss anybody else? No, I didn't. Okay. So. Yep. Okay. I'm happy to. You want to talk about the Forex scam? I'm happy to talk about that, because I'm using the flamethrower here. I'm gonna get a little bit of fire on Andrew. I'm gonna get a little bit of fire on the people who are just sort of like the glad handers and the people who are on the gravy train. You're gonna get it too. Got it. Forex, foreign exchange. Thank you very much. It's very well documented. You can go and look it up. Just go look up Andrew Tate Forex scam, and you'll find exactly what I'm talking about here. Go and look up the fact everybody wants to turn him into a human trafficker. Okay, I don't know for sure. I do know this is that he did get investigated. He did get. I don't want to say it was a raid. It was an Interpol. I'm not really even sure, but according to Tristan and according to Andrew, that there's no charges. There's nothing. There's nothing there. It's a big nothing burger. I don't know for a second. If you have questions about that, go and talk to them. And you can do that, by the way, on Rumble. They are on Rumble right now. And I wanted to say, I'm about to show you actually, I shouldn't say that. The clip that I was showing you in the beginning of this was from their Rumble stream. That Rumble stream on Rumble, not YouTube, on Rumble, was, I believe, 145,000, or was at least 100. I saw it at 135. It might have gone over that. 145,000 live views on Rumble. Okay. Tim Pool gets maybe 45 to 60,000, depending on the topic and who he has on the show. Ethan Klein on H3, he averages something like 45 to 65, somewhere around there. The Top G got 145,000 live views for that 1 hour and 15-minute video with him and Tristan. That's the groundswell here. That's the people who disagree with this. That's the audience. Now, when Tim Pool is on during his time slot, when he's got 45,000, 50,000 live views, he is crushing shows like CNN for viewership at that time. So clearly there is a want and a need for a role model, as Camille Paglia was saying at the very beginning of this show. Who are they looking to? Who are their teachers right now? The Top G, Kevin Samuels, Rollo Tomasi, Myron and Fresh? Who are they looking to? I've asked this question, and Camille Paglia talked about this in the very beginning. Okay. Who are the role models? Who are the teachers? Who are the dads? Who's they're sheep looking for a shepherd, as I said last episode. Who? Because we tell our boys, don't go to college. You'll turn out to be a communist. Don't go to college because all the women there are lesbians, and you'll turn into the guys that you saw interviewed in Central Park. You'll turn into that. Don't go to college. Don't do this. Learn a trade, my son. Or if you do go to college, only go and I'm going to lift from Aaron Clary here, but if you do go to college, only get a STEM degree of some sort that you can use in the furtherance of your career. And even then, most people won't even, there's a lot of guys who will say, don't even do that. Get a hustle, get a side hustle, do drop shipping, get a white label brand of coffee. Do something, because it's never been easier. And you'll hear this constantly. MLD will say the same thing. Don't go to college. Don't go to college. Just go online. It's never been, what is it? It's never been easier to become a millionaire. It's never been easier to figure out how to get paid online, right? We constantly hear that message for young men. So when Camille Paglia is talking about how we don't have role models for young men today, it's like, we do. We absolutely do. They're all online. They're XQC. They're Rollo Tomasi. They're Sneeko. They're Andrew Tate. Clearly, they're Andrew Tate. That's who they're looking for. That's who has their eyes. What was it? I saw this article about how, God forbid, it was like, I think it was on TikTok. TikTok is like one of the #1 sources for news. Not CNN, not news sources. Not AP, not Reuters. TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. That's where people go to get their news. Even I get annoyed. Like I have an iPad and I've got my iPhone. I get annoyed when I get notices from Apple News. Like, is that really true? And then you go to TikTok or Twitter to see if there's a story about that. I found out, by the way, that Tucker Carlson was interviewing Andrew Tate, not from Fox News, not because I follow Fox News, because somebody on Twitter said, hey, did you see the Tate interview with Tucker Carlson? That's where we get it from. It's the too long didn't read. It's the ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for anything more than a 45-second video on TikTok. That's why the people who are like the kids that were being interviewed in Central Park about Andrew Tate. And by the way, it was mostly a younger demographic, let's be honest. I also saw this, by the way. I wanted to throw this out there because it's a nice correlate, I guess, to that on the street interview in Times Square. Is there was another guy, and I forget who it was. Somebody in the chat will know this. It's this dude who's going around. He's asking like basic U.S. history questions, or what country is Japan in? Like he would say something like that, and they wouldn't. They'd be like, or they would say, who was the first president of the United States? And of course, they're selecting the dumbest of the dumbs to put out there. But enough of these people didn't know the answers to what should be just basic, high school level U.S. history. And then they asked, name three or two, well, two of the three. I don't even know how many there are. Name two or three of the Kardashians. And bam, Khloe, Kim, and they had the brother, and they knew exactly who that was, because we live in a time where we are so distracted, where we're so, everything is short form, everything is ain't nobody got time for that. Everything is TikTok right now. We have the attention span of ADHD. We need Adderall, right? We need something else to sort of help us focus, because we've been accustomed and acculturated and socialized in the age of social media. And our attention spans are getting shorter and shorter and shorter. So it's no shock to me that TikTok has just taken over, what was it, Instagram, I think, in user base, I think. And then also they're the number one news source right now, too. Imagine that. So what are you going to do about that? But for all of that, for the number one news source on planet Earth, for all of the thing, for the Drew Afawalo, Drew Afawalo has what, 7 million subs? She's not getting kicked off. She's very, 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 let's see, was it misandry? She's a misandrist, right? She hates men. She's like, oh, I call him out, blah, blah. She's got the attention span. Like the people who watch Drew probably have the same attention span of like 45 seconds. It's probably long. All they want to do is hear this. All they want to do is hear that laugh. All they want to do, that plays. That's 4 million views. This 4 million views. Doesn't matter. Like, you could come at me or come at whoever. She's just going to say, she could just pull anything out of her ass. And she has a user base and a fan base that will give her 1 million views, because it's red meat and they just want to hear that laugh, and they just want to hear point and sputter is what it is. That's what I've always called it. Point and sputter is all they have left. But point and sputter is the perfect match for TikTok and the TikTok generation and the too long didn't read generation. So where does that leave a guy like Andrew Tate? Andrew Tate was popular on TikTok. He was popular on Twitter. He's popular on all of these other platforms, but they kick him off, and they don't kick off Drew Afawalo. They kick him off, but they won't kick off, what's her name? Adriana Chechik or whatever, Chechik, for having sex on Twitch. She gets suspension, but she doesn't get kicked off. So all I can think of is this, is that the message that Andrew brings and the delivery, let's be honest, because he's very, straightforward when he gives the delivery, but it's the message, it's the information that he's throwing out there as well, that sparks the woke mob, that gets the PTA involved. I think I might still have that. Where's the, let me see if I can find this. I might have this still. There it is. This one, right? The rise of Andrew Tate is ruining my freshman boys. Have you all heard of a sexist, misogynistic, disgusting excuse of a human being known as Andrew Tate? Man, that's a lot of vitriol. These are teachers. These are who are teaching, who, we say, oh, where do you go get an education? Well, this is where your boys are getting educated, by people who write this. Well, I promise you all the middle school and high school boys have, and they're addicted to his content. Just this week, I had to have 6 conversations with families about their sons saying shit like, women are inferior to men. Women belong in the kitchen. Not only are they making these misogynistic claims in class, but they are literally refusing to do assignments if it is sourced from a woman. Well, that's considering that 77, 78% of your teachers from preschool all the way to postgraduate school are going to be females. That's not hard. Okay. It's mostly women that are doing the teaching of your boys as it is. Right. So, but when I say I'm a teacher and I'm here to teach you, the cognitive dissonance kicks in, and they are saying, yeah, but teaching is a woman's job. Right. So they think they're going to rationalize with children who are in middle school, who she clearly thinks have the capacity for abstract thinking, she's gonna say, oh, cognitive dissonance. They don't know. They're on TikTok. They don't know what cognitive or dissonance means, especially not in not tweens, not at that age. That's for damn sure. I think it's funny because it's like she's trying to whoever was writing that was probably probably a teacher, right? Who was very upset that Andrew Tate has infiltrated her classroom, because the kids jump on top of it. Now, granted, probably those kids are just repeating what Andrew has to say because it gets a rise out of out of their female teachers, out of their moms, out of the girls that are in the class, because they are so cocksure that they are in a position of superiority, that it should be to be in a gynocentric social order is the correct way of thinking. So what she's saying, this is a teacher, the incorrect way of thinking is what Andrew Tate is promoting, what Rollo Tomassi is promoting, what Myron and Fresh are promoting. That's incorrect. You're not thinking right. That's why women default to who hurt you, or what was your childhood like, or what was her name, right? Because if you're not thinking, you're not agreeing with the hive mind, if you're not agreeing with the collective, what we've all should all agree on, this is the best way to live, right? Like the male feminists that were in the video in Times Square. If you don't think like a woman, you are less than human. She even says that. A human piece of garbage, right? You will hear those characterizations come up in in anything that they use to describe Andrew Tate or to describe the manosphere. I've been doing this so long that I expect this, but I'm not sure enough guys who are like sort of new, or like maybe you've been reading my stuff, or you've been in the sphere for 4 or 5 years. Maybe it's kind of this cycle of anti-masculinity. Maybe this is something new. So hopefully I'm helping you along with this. But the fact remains that to be counter to that, to put men in any way as a primary focus of policy, of social dynamics, of gender relations, of politics, of religion, name the human arena, name the human element, name the arena or the area of humanity. And if you put men first in that arena, you're less than human. There's something wrong with you. You're a misogynist. How dare you? How dare you say something like that? How dare you talk about, or let's see if I can get this. Dang it. There we go.
How dare you?
How dare you talk about anything? You're a man. You have it easy. We got to smash it's 2022 and we're still smashing the patriarchy. Thank you, Gloria Steinem and Betty Friedan. We're still using that narrative because it still works today. It still plays. Victimhood and superheroes. Women have this, like feminism has this you want to talk cognitive dissonance. The cognitive dissonance is women are simultaneously victims, but they're also superheroes. They're oppressed. Their poor little souls are crushed by this nebulous patriarchy. But then you've got Captain Marvel. Then you've got but they're superheroes. They can do anything. They can be astronauts. So what is it? Do you get to be a superhero or are you a victim? Well, that shifts depending on who we're talking about. And in a gynocentric social order, for me to just even bring that up, to even point out that discrepancy, makes me the enemy. And that's what made Andrew the enemy. And they strung him up for that, and they canceled him, and they tried to erase him. Now he's on Rumble. He's probably going to come back. I understand. But there's a lot of people who were right along there with him who will probably abandon him right now. I'm just going to point out who I think is going to be doing the abandonment here in just a bit. But they wanted to be on board with the message, but they don't want to be on board because they now understand that if you present these ideas, if you go against the gynocentric social norms, then you run the risk of being canceled too. You run the risk of having your show taken off of whatever platform there is. And I also want to point out this because a lot of people are going to say, well, go and create your own platform. And some people have, right? I mean, one of the reasons why you see like things like Daily Wire right now is it's a subscription service that you can get on your Apple TV or your Roku or whatever it is. And they put stuff on YouTube? Yes, but they can't rely on YouTube because the kind of stuff, the kind of content Ben Shapiro or Candace Owens or Matt Walsh or whoever, Matt Walsh is a little bit more user friendly, I think, on YouTube. But the reason why they started it as a subscription service is so that they wouldn't have to worry about the censorship that they were going to inevitably face if they have Jordan Peterson on there, if they have Candace Owens on there. So yeah, can you go and create your own network and do that? Yeah, but most people, for as much money as Andrew Tate has, that would be my next direction, honestly. But for regular guys, for just regular Joes, even if you have a lot of money and you get canceled, that's the end of it, man. That's the end of it. And so you've got to figure out ways around that, or you have to prepare ahead of time. So to say, like, and then here's my criticism for Andrew. You should have seen this coming. There's enough of a history of this happening that you should have seen this fucking coming. And if you didn't have a contingency, if you didn't have a plan for it, I don't know what to tell you. It's coming. In fact, if anything, you should have a plan to profit off of your being banned. There are people right now who, I'm going to name names. Here we go. Michaela Peterson and Jordan Peterson. Okay. The best thing that could possibly happen to Jordan Peterson right now is if he got canceled, is if he got booted off of Twitter, is if he lost his channel. That would be the best thing that could possibly happen to him, because he would simply go back over to Daily Wire and go and do his thing on Daily Wire. And you could only get Jordan Peterson on Daily Wire. It's exclusive. They haven't kicked him off yet. And you'll notice, by the way, Michaela, your silence is deafening on the whole Andrew Tate thing. She hasn't said one fucking thing. Nothing. There's nothing. No IG. There's no Twitter. There's no nothing. There's absolute, radio silence from Michaela Peterson about this. And you would think she'd be the first one that would jump on top of this. Oh, well, censorship this, and they're censoring my dad. And remember when, what was it? Ethan Klein deleted the video interview that he had done with Jordan Peterson. She raised holy hell about that. Dead cricket. I wish I had a cricket. Crickets. Silence. Nothing whatsoever. Your silence is deafening on all of this. And you know why? Because you have a connection to Andrew Tate. You're not ready to deal with the bullshit that's going to come down in your commentary as a result of that. And I'm only throwing this out there because you've been sniping at me from behind a block since January. So how now? Where do we go now, Michaela? Because there's absolutely nothing